Folks, I've got some great news and some bad news. The great news is we've got a whole heap of information out today for the Houston Breakout update that's coming out on Monday, a big roundup of all the key things you can expect. The bad news is I've already seen the dev update video because I wanted to make a proper analysis of my overall thoughts rather than a reaction this time. So that means aside from whenever I slide in clips or little images here and there, you're just going to be staring at my face for the next 10 minutes. Sorry. All jokes aside, we have got some really good stuff in this update, and I will be finally trying out myself tonight. Partners have had early access for a little bit, and I've not had a chance to dive in. I've had a very busy week, and thank you to everyone who wished me a happy birthday yesterday, by the way. Really appreciate that. But tonight, I'm finally going to get in, so by the time the update comes out on Monday, I'll have a proper review for you to let you know what you think. Only question I've got for you guys is, would you rather the video drop when the downtime begins, or when the downtime ends for the update? I'm thinking ends makes more sense, but if you want it earlier, let me know, and I'll see what the consensus is, and make a decision from there. But either way, let's talk about everything that's coming in this update on Monday. We've got a lot to cover. Oh, but of course, one more thing before we get started. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please do so. I ask every video, but it really is helping the subscriber count grow. We're trying to get to 40,000 subscribers, so whether you're new to the channel and this is the first time you're seeing my face, whether you like it or not, or if you keep coming back to check out the news from this channel, I'd really appreciate you clicking the subscribe button. If you keep coming back anyway, you might as well. You'll get notifications if you click the bell, and then you'll always know when news is coming out for Payday 3. And I'm sliding this in here as well because it will be in the title, and I'm going to get it out the way because this video is just about the information for the update, but I would be remiss to not mention that the dev blog that went up today at the same time just says go watch the video, which I love, by the way. It stops there being conflicting information or certain things showing up in certain places and not the other. But right underneath that mention, the only bit to note from the blog is a confirmation that the roadmap is finally out next week. The quote from the dev blog is, "The roadmap is almost finished and will be launched next week. Our goal with the roadmap is to have a central point where we keep track of what's coming and when, as well as what we've said about it." I would imagine that's going to come after the update's released. I don't imagine they'll release it on the same day. Seems like, to me, probably a good target for the dev blog next Friday. I mean, it's a pretty good thing to have as a blog, but I don't know for sure. So don't quote me, we just know it's coming next week. All right. Let's do this. First off, let's go over all the free stuff coming out in the update. I think it's important to detail that stuff because anyone who's not currently wanting to buy DLC and still isn't really feeling the trust in Starbreeze or the game or whatever, here's the stuff you're going to get if you don't put money up front for this update, or you haven't previously put up money via the Silver or Gold Pass. Well, actually, at this point now, just the Gold Pass. Silver, all the entitlements there are wrapped up. That ended with Boys in Blue. So now it's either Gold Pass or you buy the DLC individually. So the free stuff that doesn't count within that, first off, they mentioned the Payday 3 soundtrack on streaming. That is a little bit of old news, but in case you missed it, that is available on several streaming platforms. Only the base game music, though. No DLC stuff as of yet. I imagine that will come later in a part 2. The first notable thing is the secondary weapon. It is a pistol from the look of it. It's called the Tribune, and according to my Discord server, who know a lot more about weapons than I do, it's a Mark 10, or Mac 10, Mark 10 I think it's called. It's a secondary machine pistol, full auto. So it is still a pistol, but it's full auto. Like I said, I wanted more variety in the weapon pool for the secondaries, and even if it's still a pistol, at least it's one that handles differently. There will also be 3 court-themed masks with seemingly a bit of a horror edge to them. They don't fully show you what those masks look like, you only get a bit of a peek, but one of them has an eyeball protruding from some very sharp teeth, looking like some creepy stuff. Quite excited to see what they look like when the update comes out. The Mask Mania rewards will also be coming with this update, so if you happen to play Payday 3 during the Mask Mania event, you'll get the Shakedown Shark mask for free when you log into the game. If you didn't, you'll have to do a challenge to unlock it, much like everyone else having to do challenges for the other 3 masks, Disco Molly, Cut Ice, and Gearhead Grudge. All of those will have hardcore challenges. We still don't know what those are, but you'll have to complete those challenges for those 3 and possibly one more for Shakedown Shark if you didn't play during the event to unlock each of those 4 masks, but they will all land in the game in this update. Alongside that, we also have new Twitch drops. There's going to be some summer beach-themed Twitch drops coming into the game, in main part being a mask and some other cosmetics beyond that, but the diving mask is the main draw for that. So if you watch a Twitch stream, presumably as soon as the updates come out, but I'm sure we'll get a proper ETA when the update drops, but I imagine on the day that Land of the Free or Houston Breakout drops, you'll be able to watch Twitch streams to get access. I'll be streaming the update on Monday night when it comes out, so head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/RedArcherLive, drop a follow, and watch me stream the update, and you'll get the Twitch drop content fairly quickly. Next up is the Trip Laser. We talked about this in a previous video from a dev blog, but this is a device that works very similarly to Payday 2's Trip Mine, except the only twist is this one doesn't explode. I think it was said earlier that that might be a feature that gets added later in the game, but right now this is purely a detection-based device. It will mark anyone who walks alongside it, but it's particularly useful for the loud build enjoyers because it's a good way to mark enemies coming through specific choke points. Because if you don't already know, some skills are really starting to begin to creep up, especially since the Assassin skill line came out, that involve marking enemies and then killing marked enemies to either get health, to give you dodge, things like that. So an Assassin build is really beginning to become a more viable option. The Trip Laser will help to promote that. So when this comes out, it'll be fun to experiment with some of these marking skills and maybe see if we can get a marked build going. I know my base loud build is still yet to come, and now Ammo Funnel isn't getting nerfed nerfed, I can roll ahead with that, but I will wait until these 2 extra skills that are coming in lieu of the ammo funnel nerf come into this update and talk about it then, because there are 2 skills, as we've said previously in the ammo funnel video, that were going to compensate for ammo funnel's nerf, but aren't going to compensate anymore. They're just going to be added in as base skills. If you need a reminder of what they are, here they are on screen. These 2 skills will also be coming alongside the trip laser in Monday's update. But even more than that, we've got daily challenges coming as well. It looks like there'll be 3 challenges a day, and they give you 400 infi points as well as 30 C-stacks per challenge. Liz does mention in the dev update that it gives you extra cash and C-stacks. I'm going to assume that's a scripting error, but I guess we'll find out when we play the updates, because as I said, visually, I see the IP and the C-stacks, I don't see cash, but we'll find out. Whatever it is, the most important reward to me is the C-stacks. That's mentioned in both the script and in the video. I don't really care about anything else beyond that, because C-stacks need to be earned in more unique ways, and daily challenges is a good way to do that. But another thing that was mentioned in the dev blog that is also coming in this update, I gotta say, love how all this is coming together, but the Consumables System is going to be in this update as well. It's an extra slot in your heads-up display that allows you to pick up either first aid kits or armor repair kits. You can't combine them, you can only pick up one or the other. It allows you to carry some smaller meds as well as your main meds for teammates, yourself, whoever you prefer. And if that wasn't enough, the animation team has been working again, and now I think every interaction in the selection wheel, the emote wheel, will have an animation. So waving to say hello, asking people to come over with a hand gesture, and also it seems like a middle finger for the drill one. So some cool more animation work. I love any animations we get, so that's a big win. But all of that comes alongside Diamond District, which I'm going to mention separately here as a separate chapter marker, because I do want to make sure that we just mention it. I know I've talked about it a lot, but it's worth reiterating in case you've missed previous videos. Diamond District is a free heist that comes out on Monday, as well as the DLC Houston Breakout heist, but this one, as I said, is free. And they said in the video this time it was inspired by both 4 Stores and Mall Crasher. They noted Mall Crasher as an inspiration, or at least something to compare to from Payday 2. You saw some gameplay of it in the dev update. I'll roll that over the top of me speaking here, but you can see you can stealth into each of these 5 different jewelry stores or smash and grab your way through. I'm guessing the stealth is more akin to 4 Stores and the loud is more akin to Mall Crasher, just based on what I'm seeing. But I just love, as I've said, that we're getting a bit more nods, appreciation, callbacks to Payday 2 things that made Payday 2 good. But all of that is free content, and while I'll get into the DLC stuff in a minute, I think it's safe to say that the majority of the stuff coming in this update is free, which is a really good thing. It's something this game needed, and I'm really glad to see. The update is going to have a lot on offer for people who haven't bought the Gold Pass, or don't plan to buy the Gold Pass, or are waiting until all the DLCs come out. A strategy I've suggested to all of you, if you're still not sure about how Payday 3 is sitting right now and you don't want to put money into it, I have suggested to people to wait until the end of year 1 and then see how everything looks as a whole package. Maybe buy the Gold Pass then, but at least in the meantime, if you are someone waiting for something like that, you can check out the free stuff, and hopefully that'll be enough to get you back into the game. Sounds like there's some really good stuff here, and I'm keen to see it all in execution. But as I said, let's talk DLC. There are 3 things to cover here. We have the heist, we have the Tailor pack, and we have the weapon pack. So let's start with the weapons this time. Why not? Again, as I said in my last video, I'll let all of you tell me what the real life guns are in the comment section down below. I just don't know. I did see the FAMAS come up quite a few times, which does seem to line up with one of the weapons, which is the Chanit S3 rifle. All 3 of these guns, by the way, are triple burst weapons. They said in the video it was burst weapons, but if you listen carefully to the gunfire, they're all 3 burst in that video. Is that intentional? DLC 3, there's 3 burst weapons. If it is, I kind of respect the meme of it, but either way, they're all burst fire weapons. The first one is the rifle, the Chanit S3. The second one is a shotgun, the M7 Pursuivant. I think is how you say that. No idea, but that's a burst fire shotgun. And then you've also got the pistol, again, 3 burst, called the Picchio or Picchio Joro 5. Not much else to say beyond that until we get our hands on them, but I will say, again, variety. It's the spice of life, and it really helps Payday 3, so seeing that all 3 of these are burst weapons is a good thing. It adds a bit more variety into the game, so I'm keen to see how they play out in execution. And if it wasn't for the heist looking so good based on the gameplay we've seen so far, I would say the suits are the best part of this DLC pack. So just to touch on the cosmetics, you've once again got 4 sets of suits, 4 sets of masks, and seemingly I think 4 sets of gloves as well. All new cosmetics for this DLC pack, but all some really sharp looking stuff. There's the judge outfit we mentioned in the last video, so the judge wig and the judge robes, but there's also just different variations of suits, waistcoats, big jackets. These kind of things are the suits I love in Payday. These big, formal, really cool, fancy suits. Those kind of things are the best for Payday characters in my opinion, and we're getting a ton of them in this update, which I love. The masks also look pretty good from what I can see. The particular one I've got to draw attention to, though, seems to be what looks like a mesh of Houston and Hoxton's masks. Not entirely sure because we don't get a full 360 look at it, but it looks like a base Houston mask where a bit of the new Hoxton mask from Payday 2 and also Payday 3 is creeping through the cracks. Not entirely sure there, but it does look really cool. I kind of like the idea of having a mask that meshes together different characters, especially with the lore implications of breaking out Houston and it being a nod to breaking out Hoxton, but all of those will be available, as I said, in the Tailor pack as part of this Chapter 3 DLC Houston Breakout. So let's talk about the namesake, shall we? The Heist. We got a bit more gameplay and also a bit of a description. So first off, let's just roll the clip from the dev update explaining the Heist, because it'll explain it much better than I can.
As the name implies, this heist is all about breaking Houston out of custody. For any new heisters out there, Houston was one of the OG gang members from Payday 2, a favorite of many and brother of team leader Dallas. Houston seems to have gotten himself caught by the authorities on behalf of gang nemesis Concord. Now, we have a small window in which we can break him out before he'll inevitably disappear into the clutches of Concord's goons.
I'm sure you'll agree. That sounds pretty good, and the gameplay of it looks really good too. It looks like you are getting him straight out of the courthouse, which I love. You've got that central courthouse open lobby that we've seen in the screenshots, and then also some gameplay in that clip within the courthouse itself, with Houston being hidden behind a wall and trying to drill him out. The idea of breaking out in a courthouse means that while you're doing a breakout heist that feels reminiscent of the Hoxton breakout, it isn't a complete one-to-one remake by any stretch of the imagination. It's in a different place, and hopefully means it'll have a completely different vibe to it, while still feeling reminiscent of that original classic breakout heist. I have to admit, seeing all of this, I'm getting really excited to try this update out. I know that we shouldn't get overhyped, and I will stress that over and over again, especially after the way Payday 3's launch went down. It is dangerous to overhype things, but it's also fair to get excited for stuff at least a little bit if it's looking good, and I've got to admit, I'm getting excited. This is looking really good, so I'm hoping this update is just as good in execution as it sounds on paper, because it sounds bloody good on paper. All of this, as I said, is coming out on Monday. The Houston Breakout Chapter 3 DLC, which will contain the Weapon Pack, the Tailor Pack, and the Heist Pack. Each of them can be purchased separately, or you can get the chapter to get all three. Or if you've got the Gold Pass or the Gold Edition, you'll get that as part of your entitlement with that pass. But all the free stuff, as I've said, the free court masks, the Diamond District Heist, Twitch drops, Mask Mania, Trick Laser, Animations, Daily Challenge, Consumable System, Tribune Secondary Weapon. There's some really good stuff in here that you don't have to fork up a dime for. There's something for everyone in this update, and that's how Payday works best. So I'm really keen to see how this update plays out. If you're excited for it, let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you all very much for watching this video. If you want to check me out on streaming, as I've said, I'll be live tonight, I think, playing the new Fortnite season on twitch.tv/RedartJuLive, so feel free to come and hang out there. You can ask me Payday stuff if you want, but on Monday, on that Twitch, I will stream this update when it comes out. Click like on the video if you've enjoyed it. It helps get the video out on the algorithm to more Payday players, and as I said already, make sure you click the subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with all future content on this channel. But until next time, thank you all for watching. I will see you all very soon. Have a great weekend, and I hope you're all as excited as I am for Houston Breakout on Monday. See you then.